Hey guys, welcome to discussion in real analysis with Akhilesh Kumar. In this video, we will learn about improper integrals. For this topic, we have referred to the contents of book Methods of Real Analysis by Richard Goldberg and lecture notes of a legendary teacher, Sri Pradeep Narayan. So for learning improper integral means when we talk about improper, so first the word comes proper. So improper is an opposite of proper. So first of all, let us learn what is proper integral and then what is the difference, how to distinguish from an improper integral. All these, both the concepts of proper or improper integral come in the category of definite integral. Means we are not discussing about indefinite integrals where there are no limits in the integral. So we need to have limits of the integration. And when we discussed proper integrals, generally we discuss in terms of Riemann integral or Lebesgue integral. So in terms of those, what we assume there that there is a function whose integration we are doing over a bounded domain. Means there is a closed interval AB, which is a bounded interval. It's not a to infinity or minus infinity to something. So it's a bounded interval and the function is also bounded. So these are the two assumptions when we discuss about proper integrals. Maximum time when we discuss this topic already, the discussion students already study this on Riemann integration. So they know what is a proper integral in terms of a Riemann integral. What were the assumptions? Bounded domain and the function to be integrated over that domain is also a bounded function therein. Now, what happens in improper integral? These two assumptions are relaxed. So when we relax these two assumptions, that comes the discussion of improper integrals. They are further categorized into two types or two kinds. Some books they write them as first type and second type, but some other books write them as second kind and first kind. So when be particular what is being discussed, when it's a first type, it is also referred as second kind. If it is of second type, it is also referred as first kind. So some books refer in their terminology. So be particular about that. We'll discuss further into it. How these two categories come in, the kind or type, whatever, by relaxing one by one any of the two assumptions. Means once we relax this assumption that the domain not be may not be bounded, that means this interval may be from a to infinity or minus infinity to something. In that case, this integral is of first kind or second type, means the interval of this type. But in that case, what we assume is that the other assumption that the function is bounded is still there. But when we consider the other assumption, means the function to be bounded, to be relaxed, but we consider this to be remaining. So what we consider in second kind or first type, we consider the domain to be bounded interval only, means not infinity anywhere in the endpoints, but the function we consider to be bounded, unbounded somewhere. So we'll see through images how this comes in. So we are discussing improper integral when any of the two assumptions of proper integrals are as relaxed. So there comes the concept of improper integrals. Here also means this discussion will see that the laws which we had discussed in proper integration, that if we have a convergent proper integral, in terms of that we will learn that what is a convergent proper integral, and then we will have algebra also. But let us first understand what are these two types. So these two types are means it's a first kind. First kind means when the interval of integration is unbounded. So I am making a diagram here only for when it is from some finite to infinity. Another diagram can be for when the function is coming from minus infinity to something. The integration is made on that one. So again, this will have two types, means minus infinity to something or something to infinity. So I have made a diagram in which we are considering the interval of the integration from something finite to in positive infinity. So this is the function under consideration whose integration has to be done. But over what limits? Means a finite limit a x equal to a to infinity. So that is how this integration is going on and on. So what the question comes in, when we are going to do the integration over an infinite interval, earlier what we were doing in proper integral we were doing from a to some finite number b, so we were integrating a finite bounded function under in the interval which is also bounded from a to b. So definitely what we had is that integral was having a finite value if the integration can be done. Here the question comes in whether the integration can be done or not. Means when we discuss the question of Riemann integral or something, so there we discussed whether it is a Riemann integrable or not. But means that was how to estimate the value of the integral. So when we integrated this integral of from a to b, whether the value can be estimated or not, that remains the question. The question does not remain there whether the value will be finite or not, because the interval is finite and the function is finite. So for example, suppose from a to b is the limit. So suppose we put a line here, so this is the upper limit and this is the same function, so it is integration from a to b of fx. Definitely the value will be finite because this area inscribed in this region, means a to b shaded suppose up to here, this will be definitely under the rectangle, means because this is bounded function, let me say this is bound. So from here to here, what is the area of this rectangle? It will be finite because this height is finite. This length of the interval, which is a to b, means b minus a, is finite quantity. So b minus a into this height, suppose it is m, maximum upper bound value. So this rectangle area will be more than the value of the integral. So definitely in that case, the integral always remains to be finite. But this cannot always be the case when we have improper integral, in particularly in this one, and in that one also, means the question remains that whether the integral is a finite quantity or not. I'll come to this one later, the second kind, but let us first understand what is the integration of improper integral of first kind. In that case, so if it is the upper limit of the interval is infinity, that means the interval is unbounded, so up to where we are going to integrate is so is infinitely. So whether this integration, the area under the curve, it's a signed area or whatever we put the interpretation, that remains the same. But when we say integral, so integral should be a finite, it should be a real number. If it is a finite real number, that means in that case we say if it is integration from a to infinity of this function, if it is a finite quantity, finite real number, in that case we say that this integral, improper integral is convergent. So that remains the discussion in case of improper integrals, whether an integral of this type is convergent or not. Even in this case also we discuss whether the integral is convergent or not. So that's the diagram to just make you understand that what an improper integral of first kind looks like. So I'll just put the rules for this and this. Here also, if you see what is the second type in improper integral. In the second type, what is happening? Limits are bounded, means it is finite limit a, lower limit, and upper limit is a finite real number b. So it's a closed bounded interval in which we are trying to do the integration. I'll not say closed bounded interval, I'll say bounded interval. I'll relax the word here when I'll discuss improper integral of second kind. I'll relax the word closed interval. I'll not say closed interval. There is a reason behind, because I can't have a function defined when I am assuming this. I can't have function defined at a. So what is happening here? I am assuming here that function is unbounded as it comes closer and closer to a. So as we find out the limit as x tends to a from right side, so it is coming here, and the function is tending to infinity. Here I am making the case for infinity. We are making the diagram like that, but this is possible that unbounded in any direction. It may go to minus infinity like that also. So it may go to minus infinity. So that's also possible. So any one of them in that if the function at any of the endpoint is going towards the unbounded side, means positive infinity or minus infinity, in that case we say that this integral is an improper integral of second kind. In this category, further, means improper integral of second kind, further there can be another possibility that, see, there are two endpoints a and b, both are finite values a and b. Here I have made a diagram where this function is taking infinite value, it's going towards infinity at lower limit a. There is another possibility that this function goes to infinity or minus infinity as x tends to b. So that diagram will be looking like this graph. So exactly, if I put the mirror image of this one, so the diagram will be the curve will be like this. That will come later. So all those types where the interval is bounded, but function is having some infinite value, it is tending to some infinity on some limit, then we categorize this function as a second category. So overall, in both in this also what we discuss is about convergence of the function, convergence in this, because here we see that this is going towards infinity, so this is an unbounded region whose integration, the integral over this function we are finding out. So whether this integral will be a finite quantity or not, again that question arises. So that's all again the discussion, whether this improper integral of second kind is also convergent or not. So overall, in both kinds, the question is whether it is convergent or not. So what we say, a definite integral, definitely improper integral is definite integral. So a definite integral is said to be convergent if and only if its value is finite. If a definite integral is said to be divergent if its value is infinity or minus infinity. It may be other case also, means it is neither convergent nor divergent. If that is the situation, we may say that the integral is oscillatory. So that can also be said, but we rarely discuss that. We generally remain concerned about whether an integral is convergent or divergent. So proper integral, improper integral, we are discussing about this only. And that I was referring to means once we have understood what is any integral, a proper integral is convergent or divergent. The same rules like for proper integral, what we had earlier, means convergent integral plus convergent integral, their sum is also a convergent integral. If we have a convergent integral and we have a divergent integral, their sum will be divergent integral. And if we have two divergent integrals, their sum will be a divergent integral. So here specifically not diverging to opposite infinity, means if it is diverging to infinity and this is also diverging to infinity, then this will diverge. If they are both diverging to minus infinity, this will also diverge to minus infinity. So here we are not discussing that one integral is diverging to plus infinity, other is diverging to minus infinity, then where it diverges to. It may diverge to any of side, it may converge also. So these all things we can discuss as we have discussed in our infinite series topics also, the convergence and divergence of series. In fact, when we discuss about improper integral of first kind, what we are going to start now, it is very similar to the theory discussed for generally for infinite series, um, because there also what we do, we add up, we sum, and there we sum in, discretely. So the values of whatever index that takes all integer values, the subscript. So there we say an, and we add for n varying from 1 to infinity if it is an infinite series. In that case, we have sum, and here also we are actually adding up, but continuously from a to infinity or a to b, whatever. So here also is the integration, but because there we discussed from n equal to something to n equal to infinity about infinite series, and here what we have, x equal to some real number to x equal to infinity. So similar theory will be there. You can have one analogy that what we have discussed about the results of infinite series. So those similar results can be derived for improper integral of first kind. Now, exactly what I have discussed about an analogy between infinite series and improper integral of first kind. So when I start discussing about in improper integral of first kind, we will define its convergence exactly like we define the convergence of an infinite series. How we define it? We define it through partial sums, sequence of partial sums. Same way, we will do what? We will define integral of partial integrals. That is what we will define. So how we will define partial integrals? So what is this infinite integral? This is integral of a function, bounded function from a to infinity. But what we will do is we will put something a to some finite number. Suppose this is s. Suppose it is s here. So integral of this function from a to s. That will be what? That will be a proper integral. That we can find out if the function is bounded, and if we can have some properties, we can find out that integral. Definitely that will be convergent. Now what we will do is we will gradually change the value of s. So if s is equal very near a, so this will be very small value of integral. If we increase the value of s, so this will be bigger in value of integral. If s comes here, this will be bigger in value of integral. So that's how we can go on and on and on. So we can what will happen as this s means this is the s limit, upper limit. So suppose we are finding integral of f from a to s. So what will happen? A to s, if we have here, so a to s, this all integral from a to s will be a finite quantity. But as this s tends to infinity, positive infinity, what we will get? We will get this integral from a to infinity. So that is what the concept is. As the limit of s, this s tends to infinity, if you find out the limit of this integral, if that remains to be finite, that is actually the estimate of this integral from a to infinity. So let us understand through the mathematical expressions also. So that is what I was saying in the diagram, what I was referring to there as the s. So let us say it as fs. So that will be integral from a to s of the given function f t dt or fx dx. So this is s. So a to s, that is what we were discussing, from a to s. So what will happen? We will do is we will try to find out its limit as this s tends to infinity of this fx. So that will give us what? That will give us as s tends to infinity, this will limit will give us what? Limit of the integral a to s. That means tending to integral a to infinity, and that will give us the estimate of what we desire for. We desire for this integral a to infinity of this function. So this will converge when? This will converge if and only if this limit exists and is a finite real number. So that is what we are going to discuss, an improper integral of first kind. It is convergent if and only if this limit exists and is a finite number. In that case, this integral will be convergent, and this integral will be divergent if this limit is plus infinity or minus infinity. If this limit does not exist, we will say that this integral is oscillatory. So that is how these three categories are this kind one improper integral kind one is divided into convergence, divergence, or oscillatory. Here are some examples. In fact, we can do a theory, means as we have done theory for infinite series. So we develop a infinite series from infinite series from 1 to infinity of 1 by x to the power n, sorry, n power p. So when we discuss integral, the sum of the infinite series 1 over n power p. So we have a result that this infinite series is convergent for the case p is greater than 1, and is divergent if p is less than or equal to 1. Exactly similar result we can find out. In particular, we are discussing here. So what we can find out is what I'm doing here is as an example for infinite integral 1 to infinity improper integral of 1 by x square. There is n square. So here it is x square. So what I'm doing in here, it will be convergent integral because here p is equal to 2, which is greater than 1. You can develop this as a general question. So you can pause this after the solution of a part. You can pause this video and try yourself. Integral of 1 to infinity of the function 1 by x power p, where p is some positive real number, and then you will be able to see that for the case p is greater than 1, then this integral is convergent. If p is less than or equal to 1, this integral will be divergent. So what to do? Exactly this theory we are going to apply. So we'll consider a to s of this function. We will have proper integral. So that will be the function fs. So 1 to s of 1 by x square. So this is the integral. So that is what, because s is tending from 1 to infinity. So that is what the range is. So we can write specifically this one as, and in that case, if we find out this proper integral, this can be integrated to get this one, and if we then put the limit as s tends to infinity, we get a finite real number. So yes, we have got this finite as this limit as a finite real number. Therefore, this integral, given integral, is convergent. Similarly, you can do this because here p is less than 1. So if you do this also specifically, you will get this limit as infinity, and you will be able to prove that this integral is divergent. Now here, for the case of convergence, exactly like proper integrals, just like in particular Riemann integral or something, or Lebesgue integral, what we have algebra of convergent integrals, algebra of integrals. Same thing we have here for algebra of convergence of proper integrals. Suppose we have this integral, we abbreviate, we don't write fx dx. Sometimes we can abbreviate like this also. So if this improper integral and this improper integral both are convergent, then if we add the function or subtract these two functions and then find out that improper integral of over the same domain, that also is convergent. And in that case, their addition or subtraction, this new integral will be nothing but sum or difference of the respective integrals. Similarly, another property of scalar multiplication will also apply there. So if it is an improper integral which is convergent and c is some real number, then scalar multiplication of the function, the improper integral of that will also be convergent, and the value of that will be what? It will be scalar multiple same c multiplied by the original integral. So these are the results. You can prove yourself the convergence and then you can get the value. Now how you will get the value? The value is nothing but, we'll go back and see what the value will be. See, I'll show you through this diagram. What was this function fs? This function fs was the integration of the function f from a to s. So that was function fs. So what this limit, when we find out the limit as s tends to infinity, what we actually are estimating? We are estimating as s tends to infinity the integral of this function from a to infinity, because s tends to infinity. So actually when we are finding this limit is nothing but the value of this integral if it is convergent. And if it is divergent, this if divergent with limit equal to plus infinity, then this integral is having value plus infinity. And if this integral is having limit, means this limit is minus infinity, then this is integral is divergent as tending to the integral tending to minus infinity. So exactly this thing will apply here. Means we can prove that if these two both are integral, both integrals are convergent, then this is also convergent. That means the limit is finite and the corresponding values also comes there. So one can prove by their own for this one, means proving this result. Let us assume this and go for further part. Same way, means we can have, as we discuss about the infinite series of non-negative terms, then we develop some results like basic comparison test, that if we have a small series, bigger series, then if bigger series is convergent, then small series is convergent. Same way, for improper integrals of first kind, we can have results like this. If we have two non-negative functions, means this discussion for non-negative functions over a domain, common domain a to infinity, such that they are Riemann integral from a to s for any s greater than a, then what happens if they are having this relation, that this is a smaller function and this is a larger function with some k multiple, positive multiple. In that case, if bigger function converges the integral of that, in that case integral of lower function or smaller function also will converge. Same way, if the lower smaller function integral is divergent, then the upper bigger function will also integral of that will also diverge. Same way we can have limit comparison test, just like infinite series. If we have two positive functions which are Riemann integral over the sub intervals of this full interval, such that a to x, then if we have this limit exactly the way we had limit of an upon bn, so here is the limit of fx by gx. If this is a finite real number and is a non-zero real number, then both the integrals are together convergent together or together divergent. So you can do these questions using this one, because now you know the result, that integral from 1 to x 1 to infinity of 1 by x cube, because the power p equal to 3 is more than 1. So just if you forget this 1 by, so it is 1 by x cube. If this integral is convergent, we know that it is convergent. And what is this function? 1 upon 1 plus x cube, that will be less than equal to 1 by x cube. And therefore, because the bigger function is convergent, therefore this is also convergent. Same way you can do for this also, and use the basic comparison test, or in this one you can use limit comparison test also, by taking x square common, and 1 by x square will give you integral of 1 by x square from 1 to infinity is convergent. So you can apply these results and do these examples also. Now there comes a concept of absolutely convergent and conditionally convergent integrals, as we have done again in the series. So here we don't assume that the functions we are considering are non-negative functions. So if they can be negative also, then means they can be convergent or not convergent also. But in that case, what will happen is, before discussing, let me just go back and tell you one more thing. This is a result which I skipped, so let me tell you one more. Exactly the way we do for non-negative term series. What we say for non-negative term series, if the sequence of partial sum is an increasing, it will, for a non-negative series, sequence of partial sum is always an increasing sequence. So in that case, by using monotone convergence theorem, that sequence of partial sums will either be convergent or divergent. So what will happen, same way for integrals, improper integrals over non-negative functions, what will happen is, for them, means when we do is, so what will happen, let us go back to the diagram what we had learned from this diagram. When we have this integration from a to this s, but when we do this non-negative function, I have made a diagram for that. So if I shift from s from here to here, so first I was having integral this one, and now I am having integral up to here. So what I'm doing, I'm having some more non-negative integral added up. So what will happen as s increases, so this integral will give you increasing value only, and therefore limit this function will have value. This is if this is bounded function, because this is increasing function always. If this is bounded function, then this limit will be finite, and the integral will be convergent. And if it is unbounded function, then definitely what will happen, this integral will be divergent. So that's how we will use this for discussing about this absolutely convergent. Now, when this condition is relaxed, non-negativity condition is relaxed, so the function may be negative here in this domain. What can happen is, this integral when we discuss, so it can be, we will say that this improper integral is absolutely convergent if the absolute value of the function, that function means mod f function, this it's composite of the modulus function and fx function, f function. So if we consider that function and that integral, we find out if it is convergent, then we say the original integral is absolutely convergent. Prima facie, in this definition, the absolute convergence of the original integral has no concern with its convergence. Later we will see that it is also convergent if we discuss about absolute convergence. But by definition, what we are discussing, an integral, infinite improper integral, is absolutely convergent if the integral of the other function, what is that, mod of f function, is convergent. That is what it is. And when we say this improper integral is conditionally convergent, We say it is conditionally convergent for the case this integral of mod of this function is not convergent. If it is in particularly this will be not convergent means non-negative function, mod function is non-negative function, it is divergent. So in that case we say this given function is original function is conditionally convergent. And as we have proved a result for if an infinite series is absolutely convergent, it is convergent all itself convergent. Same way we'll prove that if an improper integral is absolutely convergent, it is also itself convergent, means that result. If this is absolutely convergent, means mod function is of this integral of mod function is convergent. But in that case we will prove that the original function is also convergent. But for that we will need some result, means this result, which is again a basic comparison test like for absolutely convergent thing. What it is will come into it. For that for proving this result we need a remark, so I will tell you that remark. And that remark comes from non-negative function property that we have just now discussed in previous slide. So what was that? If we consider the absolute value function, means here if you see this fs is not integral of fx, it's integral of mod fs. So don't confuse between the original fs in the previous slides and this one here. So when we are discussing about absolute convergence, then we define this function for this one mod function. If we define this, then now because this is mod function, therefore this will be increasing, this integral will be increasing in terms of s. We should write f as increasing function in s. So we should add here in s. What will happen therefore by our previous slide, that because this is increasing function now, so this function will be bounded above. In that situation the integral of mod f, because mod function now we have defined for capital F, so that will be convergent or divergent for the case if this is unbounded function. So that is how what we get is if it is bounded function, means this function is bounded function because it will always be increasing. That will imply that this integral will be convergent, and that means what? That original integral will be absolutely convergent. So absolute convergence can be obtained by proving that this function is a bounded function from above, bounded from above. And that is what the requirement for proving this result is. You can pause this video and try to do this prove this result yourself. It's nothing into it. We are simply proving if this is absolutely convergent, if this is given that this is absolutely convergent, and here the smaller function, we are saying that this is Riemann integrable from a to s for every s from bigger than a. In that case, if a bigger function is absolutely convergent, then the smaller function in the mod sense will also be absolutely convergent. And here we are doing nothing but defining a g like above for mod function, and we are proving that this is a finite is a bounded. It is less than equal to a finite quantity. Why this is finite quantity? Because mod fx this integral is convergent. So convergent means this integral is finite quantity. Why this is convergent? Because the given function is the integral of given function is absolutely convergent, means the integral of mod function of this one is convergent, this one. So that's how we can prove the upper bound, and then we will be able to prove that the this function is also absolutely convergent. Same way now means I feel that by yourself you should be able to prove. The only trick here is for proving this result, that absolute convergence of improper integral of the first kind implies absolute convergence implies convergence. For this result, means the only trick here is this one. Otherwise the proof is just a simple calculation, nothing into it. I'll introduce this trick and ask you to pause the video and prove it yourself. Now, what is into it? Means we are having a property which is valid for any real number. Let us say this is y. So this is mod y. This is less than equal to twice of y. You can prove this inequality for any real number y. So what we are having here is, let me say y equal to fx. So this value y, a real number. See, what is the relation between the mod of a real number? Say it is y, mod y and y. What will happen is, this function, there are two cases. This function will be negative or positive or non-negative, negative or non-negative. So for the case negative, what will happen for mod of this value? Mod of this value and this one, they will be negative of each other if it is negative. So if it is 5, negative 5, then mod of negative 5 will be what? 5. So they are negative of each other. So when we add them up, we will get 0. If it is plus 5, then mod of 5 will be 5 only. So we are adding 5 to 5, which is 10, which is twice of the mod value. So in the other case also, means when it was minus 5, so minus 5 and 5, they were added up. So to give us what? It is less than equal to twice of mod value, means twice of uh, 5, that is 10. So with this means the inequality is there that for any real number y, if we add mod to it, it will be non-negative always, and it will be less than equal to twice of the mod value. So this is true for every real number. Therefore, it is true for the function f for every x in the domain. And now what this gives us, if we take the absolute value of this one, what will happen? Because this is non-negative, so it will be itself, and that will be less than equal to this one. And now we are ready for using absolute convergence properties and something, then a little trick which you will be able to easily identify to get back the original function. Because given this function is absolutely convergent, that means the mod function is convergent. What we need to prove? We need to prove the original function to be convergent. How we get the original function? We can get the original function by difference of, means subtracting fx by from this one. And there we have already discussed about this function. So once you try to do yourself, you will be able to do by these two tricks. That gives us the proof of this result. Now this result is what we can study. Means that this is nothing into it. We have to show that this is an example of conditionally convergent. That means convergent but not absolutely convergent. So how we'll prove this integral to be convergent? In this case, actually we will have to divide this interval into two parts. So it's a mixed type actually. So here as x tends to 0, so we have to find out what the value is. So the value is 1, so it's finite, so it's bounded. So the function is bounded in the whole interval, but the above interval is tending to infinity. We can separately deal with this integral 0 to 1. This is proper integral, so no need to worry about that. So it's a convergent only, it's giving finite value. So the whole behavior of this integral depends on the behavior of the integral from 1 to infinity, and because this is not going to play any role in convergence or divergence. If both are convergent, then it will be convergent. If this is divergent, be it it will always be convergent. So convergent plus divergent will give us divergent only. So effectively we need to consider this integral, and then we can discuss this through our previous examples. In fact, we can say that as this function will be less than equal to something, or limit comparison test we can apply for that. So we will understand that this integral is convergent. This integral is convergent. So that will give us that this is convergent, but we'll prove that this is not absolutely convergent. So we can go into it and see this one. And now comes the improper integral of second kind. In this, what happens that there are two types, means in which the lower limit towards the lower limit, the function is tending to infinity or maybe minus infinity. The other cases, towards the upper limit, the function is taking unbounded values, means it is tending towards infinity. I am making the diagram. It may tend to minus infinity. That can also be possible. So here I am writing plus infinity, minus infinity is also possible. So that is what is the second kind. So what we do for the second kind, let me tell you again. Similar thing, what we do is through partial integrals we are going to do. So what the problem is? Problem is that when we find out the integral from a to b, so a is the problem here. As the function the x comes nearer and nearer to a, so integrating towards full a to b becomes a problem. But again, means if we integrate not from a but bigger number, a plus h maybe, where h is the step length. So from a plus h to b, if we integrate, then it will be a bounded function, and then we can integrate as a proper integral. So again, similar thing, what we are going to do is we will make some function capital F in terms of h, and what will happen, we will integrate from a plus h to b. So h here is important. So as h tends to c, h, if h is equal to 0 in the case, means a plus h will be what, it will come to b. So if h is 0, so this distance will be full. Sorry, when h is equal to this full length of the interval, that means b minus a, in that case what will happen, this point will come to b, so that is 0. But when this h is tending to 0, this a plus h will tend to a. So that is how, when we take the integration of a plus h to b, that means from here to here, as h tends to 0 from positive side, what will happen, this integral under this proper integral will tend to this improper integral. So that is how we are saying, again similarly defining, means for this function. So here is the slip of pen error, I have written small function f, we have to write capital F. Oh no, it's okay. So we are assuming that this function is unbounded. So it is okay. No slip of pen. So this function f, its limit as s tends to positive 0. If this is finite, that means this integral is having finite value. In that case, what we will say? We will say that this integral is convergent. So let us see this again. Means for this integral, as s tends to 0, is the step length tends to 0. So integral becomes from a to b. So for finding that integral, we find out this limit of this function, and if it is finite, it is convergent. If it is infinite, maybe plus infinity or minus infinity, the integral is divergent. So that is how we can do the definition of that. Now I will ask you to do the similar questions. Means the general is that integral of this type, means here as x tends to 0, it's an unbounded function. So 0 to something 1 upon x to the power p, if you find in general, this integral will be you can prove this result, that this integral will be convergent for p less than 1 and divergent for more than 1. So you can prove that. And now what you do is, I'll ask you, by using this definition, you try to prove this integral as x tends to, so this is integral of second kind. And then what we will do is, we'll define this function. What was the interval of this function? The interval of this function was 0 to 1. So what we will do is, it is having problem at 0. So we'll do what, we will define this function f from, in general, a plus h. So what is a here? 0. 0 plus h. 0 plus h to 1 we will do. So that is how what we will get is this function, and then we will integrate this, because this is a proper integral. We will find out this proper integral in terms of h, and now when we will put the limit, we will find out that this limit is finite quantity, and therefore the given integral is convergent. I asked you to do these questions by yourself, and do this also by again using definition. Now comes again a remark. Actually what we have done for proper integral, means for the improper integral of second kind, what we have done for this one when the problem was at initial point. Similarly, I will ask you that if the problem is like this, means when the improper integral of second kind is with limit unbounded at upper limit, means in that case, same way like this, means this way you try to define. So what will come here? The h will come here. So we will define integral from a to somewhere here. This length is h, so it will be b minus h, from a to b minus h. Same way, if you define integral, how the limit should be defined, I will advise you to stop here and try to write something for the improper integral of second kind for this one, means when the limit is infinity for the upper limit. And there is another thing, means the absolute convergence again can be defined for improper integral of this type again will be what, that this improper integral is absolutely convergent if and only if the mod is convergent. Same way it is conditionally convergent if and only if mod integral is not convergent. Again the same result, you can prove that this is absolutely convergent implies the original integral is also convergent. And again the result similar to the previous result, means for the first kind we had proved similar result can be proved that if we have this there are two functions between this interval, if we have both having limit tending to infinity and or maybe same minus infinity, then what will happen if g is the lower function in mod sense in comparison to the f function in mod sense, if this f function, the bigger function, is absolutely convergent, then the smaller function will also be absolutely convergent. So we are taking this result for without proof, and let us see this example how this can be used for absolutely convergent, proving this function of improper integral of second kind. Definitely this is an integral of improper integral of second kind. Let us take this as g function, and now definitely if we take f function as this one, because mod of sin x will be less than equal to 1, so mod gx will be less than equal to mod fx, where mod fx is this function. And we just proved that this function means 1 upon root x is convergent. So mod of fx integral, if we find out this is convergent, that we have done in our previous example. And therefore what we can prove using this previous result, that integral of this given function with mod sign means this function is convergent. So this integral of gx, that means this is absolutely convergent and hence convergent. So that is what I was asking you to do this one. So for the integral, when upper limit is there, there is a problem, then you can define this integral, and then you can define the convergence in this sense, and then you can get. Now let us see this example. Means if you have done this, you will be able to understand now. Means integral a to 0 to 1, a to b, but the problem is at b, means upper limit. So as x tends to 1, 1 minus x square tends to 0. So this denominator gives a problem. It tends to infinity. So that is how the upper limit is having problem. So again, what we are doing, b minus h, and then h tends to h tends to 0. We find out the limit. It's a finite limit, and then this will give us what, that this integral is convergent. Now, again, we can extend this improper integral concept to mixed type, mixed kind. We had already understood about first kind and second kind. So what we are going to discuss here is second kind. If you see this diagram, the problem is in both sense, means the upper side also and lower side also. So as the extends to infinity, this interval is also unbounded, and the function at lower limit is also unbounded. So you can add, what can we do here is we can break this integral into two parts, and if both are convergent, means integral from a to say c, this integral, this will be of second kind. If it is convergent and c to infinity it is also convergent, then the full integral will be convergent. If any one of them is divergent, then this full integral will be divergent. Now you can see this these two questions. Now I'll consider this one, means 0 to infinity. Here let us see this one first. So 1 by x square if we consider individually, and 1 by root x square if we consider individually. By using basic comparison kind of things, we can get to know, because these are non-negative functions. So applying basic comparison test, one will be tending 1 to infinity if we see. So this is bounded by 1 by x square, so it will be convergent. And from 0 to 1, this will be bounded by 1 by root x square, so that again will be convergent. So the sum of two integrals is convergent. The details are written here. You should do yourself, and then if you feel any problem, you should be able to refer here. Now this one also means if we break this into two parts, so let us see this integral. So lower limit is also having problem, the upper limit is also infinity. So what will happen if we see this integral, 1 by x square from 0 to 1, 0 to infinity. So this is means this particular problem, and this particular integral is what it is divergent. So you can prove this, and then you will be able to use it here. We have proved in the previous slides that this integral is divergent, and using this part, because the two sum of the two integrals, this is divergent, whatever be it, this sum will be divergent integral. So I leave the other part for you to do. You will have to, I'll give you the hint. You will have to break this into first two parts, minus infinity to 0 and 0 to infinity. And then further, each of them, if any one of them comes out to be divergent, the full integral will be divergent. If both two, means dealing both of them, 0 to infinity, so then you can break, you can see that 0 to infinity is divergent or not, and minus infinity to 0, that you can also develop if it is divergent or not. You will be able to understand how this integral is convergent or not. So that sums up the video for improper integrals. Thanks for watching. God bless you all.